For decades, the federal government has encouraged people to quit smoking.
So why would a federal agency build a cozy shelter to give workers a more comfortable spot to smoke? Our senior investigative reporter Scott Friedman is on the case. Scott, a lot of questions here about the use of tax money.
That's right, Brian. Tonight, NBC5 Investigates has video of that smoking hut built on a secluded federal government compound in Grand Prairie. And records we've obtained detail the money spent to support a habit the federal government has been trying to kick. Behind the gates of this government complex in Grand Prairie, a new glass-enclosed hut for federal workers to take cover on their smoking breaks. It sits right outside of the regional headquarters for the Federal Bureau of Prisons.
Well, it's encouraging them, and it's encouraging a lot of people to take time out of their day when they're supposed to be working and out there just smoking.
This agency insider asked that we hide their identity because they're not authorized to speak to the media. That insider was surprised when workers started pouring a concrete slab and installing what looked like a fancy bus shelter, only to find out it was a smoking hut.
I believe it's a big waste of time, money, and really just encouraging people to go out and do a bad habit.
NBC5 Investigates filed a Freedom of Information Act request for the construction records. They show the Bureau of Prisons spent more than $9,000 to purchase the prefab smoking shelter, including a $1,400 upgrade for a gable roof. Receipts show more installation expenses, bringing the total price tag to more than $10,000. Not a huge amount of money in a $3 trillion federal budget. But Steve Ellis with the nonpartisan watchdog group Taxpayers for Common Sense says that doesn't make it right.
Well, it certainly should raise eyebrows, because why are we spending money to actually accommodate smoking, something that we know has huge costs for the taxpayers in the long run?
In 2013, the Federal Office of Personnel Management estimated smoking already cost the federal government an excess of $1.24 billion annually in higher medical costs for government workers and missed days of work. That's why the GSA, the federal agency that manages many other federal buildings, banned construction of smoking shelters more than 2 decades ago. The GSA tells us it has not built any new smoking shelters, huts, etc. since 1993.
For 20 years, we've told agencies that they shouldn't be spending money to accommodate smoking. And so to see taxpayer dollars, thousands of taxpayer dollars going to build this structure is really kind of flies in the face of common sense.
A spokesman for the Federal Bureau of Prisons says the agency was required to build the shelter that sits behind these gates. He says 16 years ago, a federal panel that resolves labor disputes ordered the Bureau to provide protected smoking areas for workers. That order from 2001 required the Bureau of Prisons to set up smoking shelters for employees at actual prisons. The Bureau believes that also applies to office buildings like the one in Grand Prairie. The agency declined a request for an interview, but this insider feels it's a shame to see money spent on this instead of things like equipment to better protect prison guards who work on the front lines.
That's money that could be going towards improvements on some of our facilities. It's endless what that money can go towards for just safety and protecting the public and the officers.
We wanted to know how many smoking shelters the Bureau of Prisons has built nationwide, but the agency did not answer that question. We also reached out to Congressman Mark Vesey, who represents the area where the smoking hut is located in Grand Prairie, just to see if he had any thoughts about the project, but Vesey's office did not respond.
Thank you, Scott.